What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is my review for True Detective Season 4. So as you can tell, I'm a pretty big True Detective fan. Let's go through the other three seasons real quick. Season 1, I think it is a near masterpiece, one of the best TV seasons of TV just in general. Holy cow, incredible season. True Detective Season 2, I'll never forget when it first aired. I think I only got like 3 or 4 episodes in and I just bailed on it. But all these years later, I decided to revisit it. And I do think that it is a convoluted mess for sure. But it is quite well acted. I do think that it plays around with some interesting ideas. But it's not that memorable, unfortunately. But it is still solid-ish for what it's going for. Season 3, on the other hand, when I saw it airing, I watched it week to week, and I really dug it. I thought it was interesting in terms of having a mystery that takes place years after the events of, a detective trying to figure out the mystery, and then he himself has dementia, so he is someone that's dealing with that, whilst at the same time trying to figure out the mystery all these years later. It's an interesting concept, but I will say that on second viewing, I didn't quite like it as much, but I still thought it was good. Now, one thing I will say about these 3 seasons of TV is that it is an anthology series. So each season focuses on a different set of characters. Season 3 does have slight tie-ins to Season 1, which, let's be honest, do kind of feel tacked on a little bit, especially because Season 2 really didn't have any tie-ins, so it was just kind of like, huh? But whatever. So Season 4, though, is an interesting conundrum where I hear a lot of people comparing it to Season 1 and saying it's not as great as Season 1. It's not. And that's fine, because it's not. But I personally try to compare it for what it's going for. And I think that Season 4, with what it's going for, it's solid. It is along the same lines in terms of my opinion of Season 2 and 3, where it has its issues for sure, but I did find entertainment value to be had with it. I like the wintry Alaskan setting. I thought that it was very interesting. It felt like a living, breathing character, which I really liked. I also liked the performances. Jodie Foster in particular I thought was really good, per usual. The mystery itself did leave some intrigue to be had. I will say the overall payoff was a mixed bag. No, not going to spoil anything, but I liked some of it, but some of it I didn't like. I also think that the cinematography is pretty striking for the most part. It does lead to that atmosphere that it was going for in the tone. And I also liked the dark tone. I thought that was something that was very welcoming, and it really added to, the setting and the cinematography and these characters that are very, how should I put it, unlikable, which I know for many people will be a huge turnoff, and I get that. I do. But at the same time, it is something that it makes sense with what these characters are going for. They are hurting. These characters are hurting not only themselves, but other people. So it makes sense in that context. But if you don't like this season of TV because of, the characters not being likable, I get that. But at the same time, given with what the filmmaker is trying to go for, it makes sense in that context. I will say, though, that the tie-ins to Season 1 did feel tacked on. I wasn't really a fan of it. In fact, one of my friends, shout out to you, Mike, we both were joking around about one in particular involving a flat circle in the finale. It was just like, it's like, why is this added in? Like, it feels tacked on as opposed to actually, fitting in somehow, whether it's the characters or the storytelling. It feels like a studio interference type thing where the studio was like, pitched an original idea by the creator, and the studio was like, you know what? We'll greenlight it, but only if, instead of calling it just Night Country, you call it True Detective Night Country, and you have a couple references in, and we'll greenlight it. And I'm sure the creator was like, well, I of course want to get this greenlit, so let's make those sacrifices. I understand that sometimes creatively we have to make sacrifices. And that's what it feels like. It feels like one of those things where because of those sacrifices, it does kind of detract a little bit from the overall show. There is a couple instances where the visual effects also really aren't that good, and particularly the opening scene of the show involving animals. But I will say overall, I thought that it was solid. I will say the pacing is interesting in that there's a conundrum with it, in that the show is, I believe it's 6 episodes long. It feels both too long and too short, meaning that there are some story threads that feel like they could have been fleshed out a little bit more, and then other story threads that feel like they could have been toned down a little bit and kind of almost taken out a little bit. But at the same time, it's an overall solid TV series, and I don't understand the overall hate. I feel like a lot of that might have to do with some people are just like, I don't like the fact that there's female characters in True Detective, even though it's nothing new. Season 2 literally had female detectives, but what do I know? But if you don't like the season because of other reasons, like because of the actual quality, fair enough. I get that. But hating on this show because it's a female creator and female cast members, I just don't see that as a valid criticism. I really don't. If you look back, if you look 10 years from now, if you look back at some of the criticism saying about those things, it's just not going to last. But if you critique the visual effects, if you critique the storytelling, if you critique, some of the heavy-handed, whether it's symbolism or, tie into season 1, that will hold up in terms of criticism. So I look at the filmmaking. That's just me personally. So for me, True Detective, season 4, Night Country, whatever you want to call it, I thought it was overall solidish. And for me, that's why I'll be giving it a... Hey guys, True Detective Season 4, what did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you not? Did you hate it the way a lot of people do, or did you actually like it? Let me know in the comment section down below. As you can see, I liked it, but I'm also not going to sit here and saying it's a flawless season of TV. It's not. It's got quite a bit of flaws. But I still enjoyed it, and it was still something I looked forward to watching week to week. So I am watching currently Shogun, so once that wraps up in terms of, I think it's only a miniseries. Once that wraps up, I will try to also review that for you guys. But guys, thanks again for always watching. I really do appreciate the support. Note the subscription, notification bell. Follow me on Letterboxd, and I will catch you guys later.